Morning, everyone. I hope all you are well. So, dear team and friends, today's session is very special because I designed this session with respect to the real job descriptions and how to design the probable interview questions. As you can see here, what would be the probable with respect to the scenario, so one, and how to design your answers. I try to cover from step one, step two, step three like that, so that you can have a complete visibility about the layers of how interview is going on. So here's a step number one. You receive the JD. The JD asks that you need to create and maintain up-to-date compliance frameworks that maps the ISMS to internal and external audits requirements. You need to have experience with respect to the first line of controls, as you can see here, this one. Uh, Second line of defense also, and you need to have experience of the periodic assurance activities. You must have experience with respect to PCI, with respect to GDPR and the TPRM assessment and audit. So this is the JD you received. All right. So first question the interviewer must ask is the intro round. As you can see here, could you please explain, introduce yourself? Could you please introduce yourself? Please include your past experience, exposures, and security audits and standards. So, since this, if you can read this JD, right, this looks like they are looking for PCI experience, they are looking for GDPR audits, TPRM audits, first line, second line, etc. So, obviously, 10 and above years of experience they are looking for. So, design your answers that your introduction matches their requirement. So here you can see, 12 years of experience I have in information security, compliances, TPRMs, and specializations. I have good experience in PCI, GDPR, ISO, and the NIST. I manages control assurance programs. I have good experience in PCI, GDPRs, and gap assessments, remediations, and TPRM also. So overall, I have good experience in practical, measurable, and continuously monitored. So this is how you can design. So you need to design your answer, right, with respect to whatever their requirement. In the requirement, you have seen that they are looking for PCI one, they are looking for G. So accordingly, you need to design your intro. Okay. Second question is the scenario one. Very important. You can see here, they are asking that let's take a scenario. You have been asked to perform a PCI audits from startup company transaction levels are less than 20,000, and during assessments you found there is no firewall exist. What would your action here? So there is only see these actually this is a scenario based, right? So only real worked candidates have the right answer for this. Theoretical candidates, I believe they are very far away from the accuracy of answer. So try to be practical here. These is scenario based answer questions. They want to judge how depth your knowledge is. So the right answer is if there is no traditional firewall during a PCI audit, right? That's a serious gap because PCI requirements number one shows about expectation network security controls. But in real world, right? Few startups have their low budgets, right? Cloud native startups, so they are very far away from the firewall. So the alternate, if you don't have the traditional firewall, right? It's good to have a cloud native firewall or the Windows firewall, right? Where the purpose of this firewall is to just reduce the traffics, or they can have the monitoring of the traffic, so other firewalls can also do the same work, right? Only port 443 exists here, right? Enable the cloud native firewall, etc., right? Second, web application firewall is also a firewall, you can also use that one, right? Third is host based firewall, that is also considered as a firewall, right? Second interview question is, yeah. Second interview question is, a child below than 16 years login in a website in UK, does GDPR applicable for underage child? This question is very important because we have seen that GDPR applicable for mature persons, right, who have their own decision making ability. But what if candidate or the data subject is below than 16 years underage kids. So does the GDPR applicable for that one? So answer is yes. GDPR absolutely applies to children in the United States. This one, sorry, UK, including those especially under 16. But there are very special rule for consent. GDPR applies to children in the UK if a child is below 13. Parental consent is required. This statement is very important. Parental consent is required under Article number 8. Uh, the child can provide consent themselves if the kid is 13 years and above. So this is how you can design. Next question is, you can see here what are the articles related to principles in GDPR. Please explain in with article wise. Principles in GDPR. As you know, multiple principles exist in the GDPR. So article number 6 is always with the lawfulness of a processing. So collect or use personal data if you have a valid legal reason, right? Six legal reasons allowed in article number 6. Number one is a consent, contract, legal obligations, uh, vital interest, public task, and legitimate interest. Article 15 talks about the right of access by the data subject, right? So this article gives individual the right to know how their personal data is being used by the organization. These are the some examples, right? Article 16 is right to rectification. Rectification means how accurate your data is, right? So, let's take an example, right? You visited a bank where your name is wrong, right? For example, my name is Rajveer Singh and there is a mistake in my surname. So it's your right to make the corrections. What is the correct answer? This is my actual name, but they missed the name earlier. So you have the right to rectification. Whatever the record your employer or your bank is processing, if there is a mistake, you have right to make it correct, right? And but the thing is that, right, as an auditor, how you collect the evidences, right? So first step is how what is the process they are collecting the evidences. Here you can see policy and process evidences. If you have been asked to the data subject or the accuracy rectification, then first step is to review the policies evidences. Request handling evidences is the second one, right? System technical evidences is the third one. Here you can see, and control validations are the fourth one. Right to erasure. Erasure means right to forward. Means this right allows individual to ask a company to delete their personal data when there is no valid reason to keep it, right? If a company is no longer require your data, you don't want to keep it anymore, you can say, please delete my data. Okay. This is a very common situation that you withdraw the consent or you unsubscribe from the website. Unsubscribe means you withdraw your consent that I don't want to process data with you anymore. So if you unsubscribe your website is a good example of the data to erase here. Second, from the audit perspective, this one you can see here, right? What evidences you need to collect. So first, always go with the policies and procedure. That means what mentioned in their policies. Second is how request data handling. Third is data deletions, executions, and identity verifications. Right to restrict of processing. Restrict means what? You don't want to process your data with that employer or the owner, right? So don't delete my data, but don't use it for now. You restricted your data. So instead of deleting the data, right, the company must temporarily stop the processing because you objected that you restricted your data to use, right? So that comes under. But as an auditor, what evidence you need to collect? Okay, always go with the policies variations. Second is request data mechanism, right? Third is system capability to restrict data, right? Fourth is processing block controls. Right to data portability. Portability means what? You carry on your data from one company to another company. right? This right allows a person to get their personal data from one company, reuse it or move it to other company, right? The best example of data portability is a background verification, right? Example, you join a company, but your company wants to verify you, your past experiences, your criminal background, etc. So they will not contact you. They will contact your employer and collect the data from there. So here, what happens at the back end actually, right? They are collecting your data from your employer, and your employer transfer your data to the next hiring company. So this is the best example of the data portability. Company A, you can see here, company B hires a vendor, right? Instead of asking you for the documents, right? They are requesting documents from a company A. Share my employment data with background verification agencies. Company A sends structured data directly. That's closely is a good example of the data portability. Okay. Article 23 talks about the restrictions. Restrictions means what? You limit your data sharings. You limit. Restrictions means what? See, you asked your employer not to process this data, but also in some certain scenarios, right? There are some certainty where even you withdraw your consent, or or you asked to not to process your data, but still company do it because of some restrictions. What are the restrictions? Authority, right? If your company show about the income tax return or any legal reasons, then they need to restrict your data here. But what is article number 28 in the processor in a GDPR? So processor is you know the sub vendors which handling your data, right? Article number 28 always talks about, right, how to monitor the vendor with respect to data is not misused by the vendors, right? Vendors must follow your instructions only, and proper security controls are in table. Article 28 talks about data processing agreements, right? Process only on the restrictions. Data should be confidential, data should be securely measured, and sub-processing controls and assist controllers and delete or return data here. Okay. Article number 30, ROPA, very important from interview point of view. As an auditor, what evidences? So two parts of questions here. ROPA means what? Record of processing activity, right? The real time which your company is processing your data, they need to keep the record of processing activities there. So the purpose of ROPA is what data are they collecting? How do we collect it? Right? Where it's stored? Right? Who do we share it with? Right? And how long do we need to keep this? So ROPA provides you everything document. What's happening in the everything should be recordable, right? Right, like we have risk register in managing the GRC in ISO. And by using the ROPA, it's very easy to monitor, easy to track, and easy to show the auditors and the regulator because everything is documented here. Number one. Uh, okay. So HR payroll processing examples. These are the some ROPA example, right? If HR process payrolls, right, then ROPA entries, right, what is the purpose? The purpose of keeping your data uh, as a salary processing, right? What the data they are using, they will use your name, bank account, PAN, IFSC, etc., right? Shared with payroll vendor. If they hired any outsource, right, retention is 5 to 7 years, right? So this is a few example. But what happened if what kind of evidences you need to collect if you are an auditor? So ROPA documents, right? You need to collect the documents from the Archer or the OneTrust. They are the GRC application they are using. Second is data flow diagrams, right? Third is privacy policies, interview walkthrough, system evidences, vendor contracts, and the retention policies. Everything should be mentioned in the ROPA. Article 32 talks about security of processing in interview. This is very important, right? They may ask, okay, Which article number talks about the processing of data, and what is the purpose, and as an auditor, right, what evidences you will collect. So article number 32 talks about the processing, right, where unauthorized hackers, to make sure companies protect your personal data from the unauthorized access, lost data deleted accidentally, damage system failures, and leakage data exposures. And as an auditor, what evidences you need to collect? Always, see, security always talks about the access. Security always talk about the encryption, backup, vulnerability, incident management, security policies, employees awareness are the best examples of this one. DPIA. Article 35 talks about the DPIA part, right? Data protection impact assessments. So the purpose of DPIA is to identify and minimize privacy risk before processing of personal data, ensure protection of individuals and compliances with the GDPR. You know that without DPIA, maybe possible they may collect too much data or the risk of misuse. But if you have DPIA, right, so they have some fear that why are we collecting too much, because later on they being audited from regulators, or either they will considered as a breach and penalize you. So impact assessments, they need to collect the data very limited, very lawful, all seven principles, with from the fear of the regulator. So with the DPIA, they checked risk first, apply safeguards and encryptions, right, decided even if this is actually needed or not. What are the key controls used to ensure DPI? So key controls always, security parts would be on top priority. So data minimization, right? Don't collect Aadhaar card, PAN if email is enough to process. Access, least privilege, always same ISO, encryptions, consent managements. Next is this one. Okay, yeah, right. So next question is, what is the penalty clauses for normal and severe breaches? Two types of penalty is defined by the GDPR. Number one is the lower level penalty, where it would be 10 million or 2% of the global annual turnover, whichever is higher. It applies to administrative failures, or it applies to process related. Means if you are not see this lower level penalty when there is less severe breaches, right, means you are breaching the process but not actual incident happened. So like you are not keeping the maintaining records, not conducting DPI, right, weak internal controls, not appointing data privacy officers, right. But if you, this one, sorry, I forgot this. These are considered as a compliance failure, not direct harm, right? Means you breaches the process, you breaches the administrative failures, you breaches the process related issues, but there is no direct harm on the data object. But if you have very higher level penalty severe breaches, the penalty is 20 millions or the 4% of the global turnover. When there is a direct violations, right, when there is a direct violations individual rights and freedoms, when you process data without consent, right, misuse of personal data, ignoring user rights, access erasure, right, data breaches causing harm, unlawful international data transfer, and there are serious violations affecting people's directly. So I'm just summarizing for low severe breaches, 10 euros and 2% of the global. When severe, then 20 millions and 4% of the global ones. So this is all about the questions with respect to this JD, which we discuss in the page number 1. And these would be the probable questions which we had discussed, right? If you have still any queries, please reach out to me. And this is very important one. We are providing guys one-on-one trainings. We are providing you Archer access, we are providing you ISO 27001, we are providing you third party risk management, we are providing you and a trainings on GDPR, DPDPA, on PCI. We are providing you interview preparations full, and unlimited connects available one on one. There is no recordings, nothing else. I will came to you face to face, right? Whatever are your concerns on video calls, I will try to reduce, and I will mentor you that actually, where are you lagging and how to mitigate your problems. So if you have any queries, you can email me on rajveersingaug@gmail.com. I'm summarizing. We are giving trainings on ISO 01s. We will provide you the Archer access. We are providing you the third party risk management. We are providing you the trainings on GDPR, PCI, interview preparations, and unlimited connects. You can email me rajveersingaug@gmail.com. We guaranteed 100% placements. Many candidates joined us, and they working in multiple firms. So if you looking for a best job with a short span of time, right, we are providing the complete package, good GRC, Hannah, for you, and we are providing one-on-one sessions. I will come live and I will, try to mentor you with respect to your requirements, right? So, and also, guys, I'm not taking every candidates as a consideration, because only disciplined candidates who actually serious with respect to career, only those candidates I am considering. This is not like that's market institute, like, they came, you deposited fees, and I left you in the hanging modes. No, if you joined us, I will analyze you whether you are disciplined or not, right? Whether you are serious with respect to your careers or not. And then after judgment, you take your demo. There is no limitations of the demo, right? You take one demo, two demo, three demo, four demo, five demo, 10 demo, 50 demos until you satisfied, and then after appear in the class, and then start your journey with me. So thank you so much. Have a nice day. If you have any queries, try to email me on rajveersingh@gmail.com, rajveersingaug@gmail.com. Yes, thank you so much.